Hi, welcome back to our podcast. Today we are receiving Emma Newman from CBIP Logistics that will discuss with us logistics for SME from China, but not only, you don't only work in China, right?
No.
So from China or the rest of the world, it's just our clients happen to be mostly here, so this will be the angle. And so nice to see you today. Today is a little bit different than usual because Emma is not an entrepreneur, although she's a BD person, really entrepreneurial. So today she will share a little bit of her experience here in Hong Kong, and then she will talk about her company and what they can do in terms of logistics for trading clients, trading SMEs, and e-commerce mostly.
Yeah.
So if you're in this business, I think that will be pretty interesting to see how logistics works and learn some more things about logistics and see maybe how CBIP can actually help you. So Emma, thanks for joining us today. Can you give us a bit of idea about your background in Hong Kong? Like how did you land it here, and then how long have you been here? What have you done? And what is your current situation?
Cool, thank you. Thanks, Laurence. So, I arrived here in Hong Kong a little over 6 years ago now. So I'm going to be 7 years PR next year. And to be honest, I've got my husband to thank for that. He was the ones with his job that was able to get us here originally. But it was always a dream of mine to get into Hong Kong. I had planted the seed a few years ago to him to say, I'd love to work abroad at some point. And the job at the time for myself was very localised in the UK. I'm from the UK originally. Mm-hmm. And I knew when I planted this seed that it's just something that I wanted to do. So when he got the opportunity to come over with his role, I was pushing him out the door before he even had a chance to sign the contract, to be honest. So I decided that this was the best opportunity for us, and here we are. So gave up my good job and then had to do a bit of hustling to find a job, but I ultimately wanted to be here to better myself and my career, and we've not looked back. Mm-hmm. So here we are.
Was your first job very late when we met?
My first job was with a fintech company, so small business as well. I love working at young businesses and startups. Mm-hmm. It's where I've always come from. But yeah, you're right, it was very late, and just through sheer hustling, sheer networking, I was able to find a job at Veridate. I was there for 2 years, and then just again, this is what I love about Hong Kong, is that it's such a vibey and buzzy city that through my connections, I was able to then get a role at another company. So now I'm on my third, and I was again introduced to the co-founder of the company I'm at now, just through another connection. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so brilliant about Hong Kong, is that people want to help you. I feel anyway, people want to help you and to be able to support you, and they're always thinking of how they can help that person, who can they get introduced to. Mm-hmm. And that was most certainly for my case. It can be quite tiring to go out and meet people all the time, but if you're that way inclined and you love that atmosphere, then I definitely support.
I think your profile is quite a good one for Hong Kong. I mean, if you come here to be a regular professional, it's a bit complicated. I think you better be headhunted or end up here as an expat or something. But if you are a BD person, I think there's a lot of opportunities.
Absolutely.
In Hong Kong. It's a perfect place for BD.
And I would say, just in terms of my background, because it's quite colourful, I guess you could say. I was in pharmaceutical sales before moving from the UK into Hong Kong, and I've then since been with fintech, and I'm now in logistics and a technology logistics company. So
yeah, and so here you just started this new position with this logistic company. So let us know a little bit more, like what is CBIP doing? Because I know nothing about logistics, so I mean, we'll have a lemon perspective on logistics here, and I hope I can ask questions that can help our audience as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we're a D2C logistics company, and we support SME to ship their product across the globe.
Okay, I got SME. What is the D2C then?
Direct to consumer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so B2C. So customers or clients of ours that want to support their B2C channel, but we do also support B2C as well. So, for our companies that we work with, for them to support their movement for other channels where they're selling to marketplaces, for example, or Amazon. But as a D2C brand goes, like Shopify, for example, we connect into Shopify and we can support brands to ship globally. It really depends on the type of client that we're working with and what their aspirations are. But if they are multi-market and they are producing in the East, but they're, say, a Western brand shipping back to the West, then that's where CBIP can come in to support them, because we have 10 global locations as a base. We have a big presence in Asia. We're a Hong Kong based company.
So 10, you know them all by...
I would know them by, so we have warehouses in Hong Kong, in China, in Vietnam, in the Philippines, in Taiwan, in Australia, in the Netherlands, in the UK, in the US and in Canada. And that's just a base. And not just warehousing, so we're a 4PL. So if you're not familiar with what that term actually is, it means fourth party logistics. So we sit on top of the relevant logistical kind of fragmented pieces that come into play when you're having to manage your supply chain. So freight forwarding, warehousing, IOR, so import of record into the respective countries that your goods are housed in, and last mile, so for carriers to deliver to the end consumer. And that's where CBIP come in, is because we act as an aggregator for all of those different services to support our brand's global logistics. So yeah.
And the good thing is your main focus is SME anyway. So I have a small business doing e-commerce on Shopify, so I can directly go to you and you take care of the whole logistic fulfillment, everything for me. Like I'm using FBA for Amazon, for example. It's like I don't have to care about this part, right?
No, exactly. So that's where we can come into play. So Shopify, for example, if you're a brand just selling direct to consumers via Shopify, we plug into your Shopify account, and there on our dashboard you can see all of your orders, all of your inventory and where it's housed, all of the transit times and the last mile shipping, to be able to then support your customers and concentrate on growing your own brand. You leave the logistics to CBIP, because logistics in itself is by definition quite challenging, and it can be very, very cumbersome when it comes to time to be spent on managing it. And so we act as an extension to the brands we work with, and we act as an extension of their team to ensure that their logistics is running as smoothly as possible, so that they can just concentrate on their own brand and growing it, which is all the goals and aspirations of a young business, as they want to just continue to grow and focus on the marketing efforts that otherwise would perhaps get left behind if they're having to just focus on getting their goods out the door. So yeah. Okay.
And you told me you can also help FBA business. So if you are doing e-commerce but not with your own channel, and you work with Amazon, so you can also help them. Like how exactly? Because the Amazon has its own fulfillment. So like, what can you do for them?
So basically, what we can do, this comes into the B2B model. So typically, what you would find if you're delivering goods into Amazon, they are very strict and very stringent with the requirements to actually make sure that the goods are labelled appropriately, that they're wrapped in a certain way, that the packing list is as it should be to a T. But if you are having your suppliers, mostly based in China, it's where the rest of the suppliers are, but if the suppliers are sending the goods over to Amazon, 9 times out of 10 it's getting rejected, or there are really escalated fees to get those goods into a state that Amazon are willing to accept it. And so what we can do, we come in as a layer to support the labelling and requirements that Amazon demand from the supplier. So the supplier delivering to CBIP, we then do the requirements of the FBA to then delivering to Amazon.
FBA or FBA?
FBA, sorry. FBA is my accent. Yeah. But I would say sort of an additional piece of consideration for anyone selling with Amazon is the returns from their consumers, from their customers. So if they're receiving a return from a customer and it's packaged in a certain way, Amazon are not going to accept that. So again, CBIP can come into play to make sure that all of the consolidated customer returns are packaged appropriately, and then to repurpose them and send it back to Amazon, so that then you're not going to have extortionate fees for non-compliance, and you can support your you can still support your business FBA, and obviously that's a key area to sell your goods on if you're an SME.
Okay, good. Now another aspect that is important for SME obviously is costing, pricing. Like how do you position it yourself in the whole ecosystem of logistics?
Yeah, so when it comes to costing, we have, I guess, full visibility about different prices and different vendors. Whereas if you're an SME and you go direct, you're not going to get the best prices, because you're going to be a small volume based potential client, and they're not going to really give you the prices that would be demanded by larger brands. And so what SMEs can do is, via CBIP's model, is because we can package these prices in a more competitive manner, because we've got our volumes there that we can then negotiate with all of the vendors together. We pass on those discounts to our clients, so it becomes a lot more cost effective than going direct. And not only just that, but it's incredibly difficult to manage a number of different providers. Again, like, so go back to the point about being an SME is focusing just on the marketing side. If you've got a consistent and single point of truth, such as CBIP, then not only can we make the costing more efficient for our brands, but it's also from a like a management of providers standpoint that is a lot easier, because we can go and demand better prices from our vendors and then pass it on.
Yeah. Now, besides e-commerce, I guess trading sourcing company might be interested to work with you, no? To ship their goods outside of China to their own warehouse or clients overseas. Like, do you have cases like that?
We do have a few. They're not our bread and butter. Typically, we support the e-com side for warehousing and fulfillment. But if clients want to have us support their full end-to-end, including the freight from the factory, and to be able to consolidate that to make it more cost efficient, then that's absolutely something we can do as well. So I guess that's the sort of the full service logistics, you could call it. And I mean, obviously we've got in terms of location, we're at a prime area here in Hong Kong. We're a Hong Kong based company. Our head office is in Hong Kong, and so we can maximise on all of the different freight forwarders here to support our brands, so that they don't go directly to them. So we come straight to CBRP, and
especially we are in one of the craziest part of the world for everything logistics and infrastructure. I mean, the three largest port, the three of the top 10 largest ports in the world are actually in the GB area, Greater Bay Area, so including Hong Kong, obviously. So we are in a hub really for shipping.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a free pool. It makes it a prime location to ship from. Being closer to the suppliers is one, and just getting the goods in and out is just so easy. You don't need to have all of these tons and tons of different pieces of paper just to ship in and out, because it's a free port. So it does make it very, very convenient.
Another thing I'm thinking, do you help the other way around? Like, because here we have been talking about going out of China to the Western market. Can you help Western company in, I don't know, US or Europe or Australia to actually enter the China market? I mean, in terms of logistics, I know I'm not talking about marketing, company structure, etc., but like really on the logistics side, can you help on that? Or?
Yeah, actually we can. We are able to support Western brands and who want to try and break into the Chinese market. We have a number of providers that we can support with that, but also we have warehouses here in Hong Kong to be able to support the movement into China. Just in terms of the infrastructure, the one thing you might want to consider shipping into Hong Kong, there are some shipping into China, there are taxable obligations. You need to, I'm no tax advisor, but you just need to be aware that there will be some additional taxes to if you're shipping out of Hong Kong to your Western markets. But if you are shipping into China, I think it's about 30% as a tax obligation you'd have for any goods going in. But it's definitely possible. And if brands want to reach out to us to look at that, because I mean, just in terms of the number of people, it's phenomenal. There's a real opportunity there, I think, and I think we'll find that over time there'll be more and more Western brands looking to try and break into that market, especially with all of the new technology that's out there that can actually help brands who don't necessarily communicate with Chinese based people and consumers. Because of the technology and that added layer that's there, I think that in future we'll see more and more Western brands trying to ship into China, because there won't be that barrier there anymore in terms of communication.
I can see from my end like more people trying to enter the market. Like in the past, I was really like buying stuffs in China and selling them to the West. And now, I don't know, maybe we are getting a bit less money in the West or something. So they are looking at selling directly into China, the other way around. And especially here, this area, the Greater Bay Area, it represents 12% of the China GDP. I mean, and it's just 1% of its territory. So actually, even if you just consider this small area where we are, with the 9 provinces of Guangzhou, Shenzhen, of Guangdong, Shenzhen, Guangzhou being part of them, Macau, Hong Kong. Basically, this is already a huge market on its own,
Massive.
And it's an easy place to start. And then after we can have, easy. Still China, nothing is completely easy in China. Then after you have access to 1.2 billion customers, something like that. So it's huge. It's really huge.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we will. Is there anything you want to add on your service that you think we didn't cover here?
I think maybe just to point out that brands are becoming more and more sustainably aware, and consumers are also buying from brands that are sustainable in their own agenda. So one of the things that CBIP is really pushing for this year is their sustainability edge, and we are one of the first 4PLs to be completely carbon neutral. So if any brands are looking to work with providers that are more sustainable aware, then CBIP would be that port of call.
So what you guys do, you package with less plastic or stuff like that?
We encourage our warehouses to use less plastic. That's one element to it. But when it comes to the actual shipping, we are carbon neutral. So what that means is any carbon that's been produced during the movement of goods, we offset. And for certain projects around the world, we actually then put back into the world by being carbon neutral. And we have a provider out there that supports us with that, and it's super important. We're getting asked about it more and more by brands about our sustainability edge. And
to be honest, I'm not a big fan of carbon trading, but I prefer when business works in a more sustainable way. But I think we won't enter the debate. I think this is for after the video.
Sure.
It's like it feels like you can see on the wall there. I studied it. And I was really delusioned by the whole system, and I was like, okay. But I think it is super important that logistic company become more sustainable, because you can see when you see stuffs from Amazon or any marketplace, really, it's like it's a small thing wrapped in a whole bunch of plastics, and then that's, if it was packaged in a different manner to start with, it will really reduce. The CO2 emission is one thing, but it's also the overall pollution, because what you can really feel, some people argue there is not climate change. That's another debate. But what is really obvious is when you go to Bali, when you go to Thailand, when you go and then you swim in microplastics, and it's like, come on.
There are businesses out there who are trying to encourage brands to use their packaging which is biodegradable, and we have those value adds at our warehouses if brands want to use more sustainable packaging. It does come at a slight cost, but again, the consumers are crying out for more and more sustainability. There was even, you might have heard of it recently, but in France they've just announced, I believe there's a bill that was announced in about February time this year, which is going to basically charge companies. I think Shein is one company that's going to be targeted because of this new bill in France for all of the sustainable issues that have been.
But I think this, to be honest, I think it's just an excuse to bully the Chinese. You know, I don't think there is a true sustainability at the back. It's just they don't want this fast fashion into France, you know, where they get zero control.
It's interesting.
And then,
It's interesting. It would come from France, and I don't doubt there's that kind of maybe agenda to it, because they're all about luxury brands, obviously. But it's a step in the right direction if you are a consumer and you are really focused on that, which I think is going to go on.
If it's applied to everyone, and if there is also and if we tackle the basic problem, you know, which I think, I mean, in the logistic we can start with the way it's packaged and the way all these package are put together to be sent, etc. I think this is good. Then after, offsetting, well, it depends how you do it, you know. If you basically ask somebody in Africa to stop using wood to cook its food and give him a solar oven instead, I'm like, seriously, you know, or you know, Well, we have good conscience eventually, but anyway. Okay, I think we are going a bit off topic.
Okay, we digress.
So there is one thing I like to ask my guests here, you know, when they run their own business, I ask them to have 1 to 3 tips of entrepreneurship you could share with the audience. Well, in your case, maybe we could frame it more like you have 1 to 3 tips about like working in Hong Kong or moving to Hong Kong, that like more if people are considering expatriation here.
Got it. So I would say definitely go for it. Whatever the opportunity you've got to take it, because you never know. You would regret it if you did, and you'd always be asking yourself, what if? But if you land here in Hong Kong and you've taken the risk to come over, I would say get yourself out there, join as many social clubs as you can and as many sporting clubs as you can to really push your name out there and network. And always carry business cards with you, because you never know who you're going to be speaking to, and you never know where that conversation might end up. So if you take your business card and you can present someone with yours, then they would remember you, and vice versa as well. Exactly. I have mine in my bag.
I was like, do I have it in my pocket?
Mine's in the bag just outside, but always carry your business card. So they would be, my 3 tips. Do it, don't regret, join as many clubs as you can, and business cards all the time on you.
Okay, good. So thanks a lot for joining us today, Emma. I think it was a really interesting talk. If you want anything from Emma, you know, if you have any more questions, you know, you would like to see how she can support your e-commerce, your business from Hong Kong or even overseas, you can just drop an email. I will put the contact of CBIP. Do you want me to put your email as well down there? Or?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
So it will be in the description. So you can directly contact Emma and connect with her, and you know, she will see how she can help.
Excellent.
So thanks for joining us today, Emma. And for the rest of you, I hope you enjoy this podcast. If you like it, don't hesitate to show it by liking, sharing, putting a comment or something. This helps us. If there's other people you would like me to interview, you can also write it down there, like say, I would like something about this industry or that specific person. I can reach out for you and see if I can get them on the podcast. So so I hope you enjoy, and I see you in the next one then. Thank you, Emma.
Thanks, Laurent. Thank you.